All right, everybody, welcome to Kingdom Talks Music. This is our first night airing live on Kingdom Talks. We want to honor Gil and Adina for allowing us to come onto the show and even designing Kingdom Talks Music. So this is a new division of Kingdom Talks. We're going to do something regular. We're going to bring on all the musicians and we're going to talk about different topics in the music realm. So we're excited about that. We've been excited for a while, right, Bryan?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so tonight I said, well, who's going to be the first victim of Karen, right? And I said, why not Bryan?
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
Bryan got, yeah. Yeah. Let's throw him out there. So
throw him out. Exactly. Anything can happen.
That's right. So Bryan, we had a meeting one time with the musicians group, and some of you guys are familiar with it. And what happened was Bryan came up with, did you know lyric writing and the pineal gland go hand in hand? And I'm like, what? Never heard that before. And I said, so you know what? That's the first show we're going to have, and we're going to do it right here tonight. So Bryan, he's been preparing some stuff for us, and just kind of, Bryan, we talk all the time. So, and we've talked about like the new age, and I'm seeing out there like new age Christians, and because some Christians are talking about things that are related to new age, but they're not really new age. Right. It's just that they have, I don't know, what can you say, taken something that really is in our realm. And what do you say about that?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I always say on that, Karen, is a really good friend of mine. He's transitioned on into the heavenly realms now, but Dr. David Stewart was a good friend of mine, and he, I questioned him some years ago about the whole new age. The whole. I asked him the question. I said, Mr. David, what do you say when we were actually talking about essential oils at that time, because they were deemed new agey or whatever. I mean, what it is when people don't understand something. That's especially in religious realms. If they don't understand it, they just deem it new age. It's because they just don't really understand what it is. So Mr. David said, he laughed. I can still see this guy's face, man, in my mind. He laughed. He said, Bryan, there's no new age at all. He said, there's only ancient of days. And Karen, I never forgot that, and I don't think I ever will, because I think he hit the nail on the head with that. There is no new age. Everything that we're seeing has already happened at some point anyway. So it's really, we're just remembering. I always say it that way as well. We're really just remembering really the depth of who we are.
Yeah. See, that's so awesome. And that's what we want to do is, bring some clarity into it and take the freak zone out of it, and let's get grounded in some real truth about it and stop making the spooky out of it,
Right. Exactly.
So take us to like, how does it relate to music lyrics? See, I'm interested in this right here. Because, sometimes we just get writer's block on some stuff. So what's happening there?
I was really fortunate enough back in the early 90s. I was actually just kind of thrown into it. I'd done it some as far as songwriting on my own, but never at a professional level. And so when in 1991, when we moved to Nashville, we were fortunate enough to have Glenn Campbell be our management. And so Glenn Campbell music carried a lot of weight in Nashville, of course. So I was really thrown into the mix of having to write. As a matter of fact, I was in a 5-year contract to write 12 songs per year in that contract. So I had, and it couldn't be any like Mary Had a Little Lamb thing. This had to be recordable, good songs. And so I really loved that part of it, because the creativity again, I was talking with Steve Hampton today, man, and this guy his pen is on fire right now. He's just in that flow where everything is just happening, and he's writing it down and going to the guitar and putting the melodies and stuff together. So anyway, I was fortunate enough to write with some really, really, really great writers. They had like gold records all over their walls at their homes and stuff like that for writing. And I remember the very first song I ever wrote in Nashville with a couple of guys, and they wrote, these two guys had written a song for George Strait called "Baby's Getting Good at Goodbye." And it had been #1 for weeks at that time. And so I just began to talk with those guys because they do it every day. These guys are writers and they do it every day. And so to answer your question, I was asking these guys, how do you do this? How do you keep coming up with the hooks, the great lines, how do you keep doing that? And they really didn't know. They didn't really have a straight answer, other than, man, keep your pencil and pad with you everywhere you go, because somebody may say something and you write it down, which is true. I've done that many times before. But when I began to search and do research on our pineal gland, man, I began to kind of connect some dots there, because the pineal gland is I call it, Karen, I call it our God organ. I've called it that for years, because I really believe that this little raisin sized gland in our head is responsible for so many creative things. And of course, lyric writing and music and all of those things go hand in hand with the pineal. The problem is, though, the pineal gland can become calcified. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things that can cause that to happen. But I do know this: when it becomes calcified, then your creativity level it bottoms out. You're spiritual. Have you ever heard anybody say this, Karen? Have you ever heard anybody say, man, I just don't feel like my prayers are getting past the ceiling?
Uh-oh. Yeah, I've heard that. That's in the realm a lot. Yes.
So, well, there may be something valid to that. And there's a reason for that as well. So the pineal gland is a big player in my book when it comes to lyric writing. And not only that, but being able to feel that that vibration of when you hit a melody exactly right, or when you're sitting at the keyboard, or like Mike and you guys with a guitar and a keyboard or whatever, mm-hmm. and I told Cindy, my wife Cindy, the other day, we went to a little program, and it was at one of the local schools. It was our grandkids were there, and it's like a little grandparents' day thing. But anyway, they had some kids play a little piano thing, and one finger, ding, 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 kind of like that. And Cindy, as when we got in the vehicle to head home, she said, if you could have said anything to those kids, to the music department there today, what would you have said? And I said, I think what I would have probably said is that music is not something you do. Music is something you are. Music is who you are. And it has a vibratory message, that goes mm-hmm. with it. So if you're vibrating like probably Steve Hampton is right now, because he's rolling them out. And so he's vibrating at a level musically that he's able to do that right now. And it does come and go, ebb and flow thing as well. But I do believe this deeply, and that is the pineal, an optimal pineal gland will keep your creative juices just flowing, Karen. I believe that.
Okay, so for people that maybe not have gotten into this much, so what would calcify your pineal gland?
What would calcify it?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead, hit me.
Processed food.
Yep.
Sodas, sugars, white flour, EMFs, fluoride. The pineal gland is a fluoride magnet.
Wow.
It is a fluoride magnet. It seems like the powers that be, when they started putting fluoride in our water systems, there was a reason that they did that, because again, they knew that fluoride makes people passive. It makes them just lethargic. And so when they did that, they were actually attacking humanity's pineal gland, because I'm telling you, the societies,
Yep.
the societies all over the world for hundreds and thousands of years have known about the power of our pineal gland and the creative power of it. They don't want us to have it. They don't want to have that.
I know you're giving me a flashback back to that movie, What They Live, with Rodney Piper, when he puts the shades on and then he sees something else. It's crazy. I'm thinking about that right now. So, so like at the dentist, I know that the dentist will say your children need fluoride treatment on their teeth. Yeah. Fluoride's been put out there since forever, letting people know that that's dental health. You know?
Exactly.
I mean, wow. Anything else?
Have you ever looked on the back of a tube of toothpaste, and it says, have you ever read that? It says if you do more than, see, the recommended dosage of your toothpaste every morning is about the size of the end of this pen. It's not the whole strip of the brushes. It's actually about a quarter is all you're supposed to have. And if you look on the back of that box, it will say that you need to call the Centers for Disease Control. No, not that one. That was if you have mercury. If a dentist drops mercury, on the floor, and they're supposed to rope that thing off.
Wow.
And it's amazing. Crazy what happens. But I'm sorry, but the fluoride is in our toothpaste, and you're not supposed to have but just a little bit. But on the commercials, they'll fill that whole brush line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So again,
and then get you to use more, because you're going to use it up faster, with the whole strip. Let's get some more fluoride in them. Wow.
Marketing for sure.
Yeah. So I know there's several different ways to get it removed, and I'm sure people here are going to want to know that for sure.
You talking about to decalcify the
Yeah, decalcify.
Hey, I could go through a little bit of some of a slideshow if you want me to share that.
Go ahead and do that.
I think it's in that how to detox is in that. All right, so you may have to guide me.
All right, go ahead. Just click the green button at the bottom on the share screen.
Okay.
And then it should go ahead and open up your screen so everyone can see.
There we go.
All right, there you go.
No,
Man, you're getting good at this.
There we go. Okay. Well, yeah, and we can talk about any of these slides at all that you guys want to. I definitely have taught for years that I believe that the pineal gland is our God organ. It sits right in the center of our brain, right between the left and right hemisphere. Dead in the center of our brain. It's known as an organ that anchors the soul to the body, about the size of a pea, like I was saying earlier. It's in the brain actually, but not a part of it, because it's not protected by the blood-brain barrier, and it has proteins in it that's associated. Now this is where it starts. Here we go. It's associated by these proteins with photo transduction, or the process by which light is converted into electrical signal, and the gland is actually light sensing. The pineal also synthesizes and secretes melatonin at night, serotonin in the day. In other words, it has to do with our circadian clock, our rhythms. It's optimal if you sleep with no light in your bedroom. No clock, nothing. It needs to be totally black in your bedroom. So Cindy and I now we've covered up everything. If we like if we have the air conditioner or something on, or the clock, we just cover everything up at night, because we want the maximum amount of melatonin to be released in our body during that sleep phase. Because when the sun comes up, it's gonna switch and turn to serotonin, and it keeps you up. It keeps you going. So
Yeah.
That's a little bit of how that kind of works. So the first clue is this: the pineal is the light receptor, right? And 1 John 1:5 says this: here's the message that he told us to tell you, that God is light. God is light. So the pineal is activated in certain ways. And again, we talked earlier about this. Essential oils and meditation are huge ways to do that. Now, if you're into essential oils, and Cindy and I are, we use Young Living brand of essential oils. They have one called Idaho Blue Spruce. Yep, and Idaho Blue Spruce, if you will take that oil, Gary Young told us this in a very small meeting we were in. And he said, guys, this oil will stimulate and activate your pineal gland.
Y'all hear that?
It will stimulate and activate your pineal gland. And of course, someone said, well, where do we apply it? Guess where he said?
Right here?
Right here.
Right there.
Right there. And I was like, of course, that's where you would apply it. And that was from Gary Young himself. So, and as a matter of fact, he also said that he felt like every nation had a sacred tree. Of course, frankincense trees would be over in the Middle East, Israel, Yemen, all those places have different kinds of frankincense trees. And Gary Young said, I believe that the Idaho Blue Spruce is America's sacred tree, just because of what all it does. So anyway, cool stuff there.
That's really cool. Hey, so like if somebody's got lights on, say I'm going to ask the questions, people would ask. Okay, so if you do have questions, make sure you put them in the chat. We'll pick it up. So because we do want to make sure you guys get all that information, and we'll put some links up. I'm sure you have something out there for everybody to read later and pick up on. So let me ask this. I know you and Cindy do Young's Living. So if somebody wanted to join your group or something like that, I know they do that. I'm a member too, and get my oils from them. Can they come under you?
Absolutely.
If they wanted to purchase it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they could. And there's actually a couple of ways that we can do that. We do group orders. And if they just want a little of something, we can just put it in a group order. So we'll make sure they get what they need. Okay.
And so melatonin. So if they're not covering up everything, so that's cutting off the melatonin, so they're going to have a restless sleep. Is that what's going to happen? And dream state's not going to
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It's just not optimal. In other words, if your nightlight in the bathroom is shining, into your bedroom, then it would not be optimal for the pineal to release the amount of melatonin that it would need to. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Cool thing on this slide right here is that they found that there's a lot of similarities between the pineal and the retinas of our natural eyes here, these eyes, because both are affected by natural light and is light sensitive, except the pineal is way into the center of the brain where there is no natural light. Light travels through what's called the retinal hypothalamic system and now listen to this, it brings information about light to the pineal.
Wow, that's interesting.
It brings information about light to the pineal. So what light is this talking about? After I read 1 John a while ago.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you.
So a lot of people call it our high frequency access to knowledge gland. This is like really pretty new as far as people teaching on what this little gland does. So it's kind of mysterious to most people. They're really intrigued by it and all that stuff. But I'm telling you, the ancients knew a lot about the pineal gland. The symbolism of the pine cone is all over the world. It's literally all over the world. In St. Peter's Square, there is a big pine cone there. And I mean, there's a reason for it being there, because they understood on the end of the staff of the Pope, there's a pine cone. So there's a lot that this gland is and does, but we've been duped. I think we've been duped because somebody, I don't think, wants us to know what the power of this gland and what it really can do, and the creativity that can flow through an optimal pineal gland. And so,
spiritual connection.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection, and there's no doubt that that just by people beginning to have awareness of this, then that's the first step for sure, Karen. Is just becoming aware. Anyway, here's another slide. The middle of this one says, why would an internal organ so close and deep inside of our brain, but not really a part of the brain, be photosensitive if they're wanting anything for us to see? Why is it photosensitive if it's not something for us to see there? I believe it is, and I believe it's has to do, here it is, with your real, who you really are, your real self, because we are way deeper, guys, than we've been told. Our creativity is way deeper than we've been told. Just because this group is a group of musicians, writers, singers, lyricists, psalmists, all of these things, it doesn't mean that we've got we've got it. What we have is a very, I believe, a very high, how do I put this? This is what we do is heavyweight, guys. It's weighty when we sit down to write a song that changes people's lives, or we sit down and play our instruments and knowing with our intention and knowing that what I'm playing is changing people's lives from the inside. Yep. The vibration that's going forth from our instruments, our voices, is going forth to change the world, guys. And it's hey, I've always said too, Karen, I grew up, I wasn't playing gospel or most of the things I was really listening to was Motown and the old school rock stuff. That's what I grew up listening and playing to. And nobody can say that you don't feel that, because you do. But I also believe there's a way deeper level of that I believe this group would be really into.
Yeah, because I mean, I can even see architecture in this with the pineal gland and the way, like you say, a pine cone and the layers of the pine cone. So, yeah. And so, like, Bryan's given some spiritual things going on here and some science. So this is where, like, I say, stop using this stuff like it's new age. It's new age. Well, hey, it might be a new age, because we're coming into new ages all the time. So there's awakening going on. So, I mean, stop, it's a righteous, real side of all of this. So, and that's what we're trying to dismantle. And people are interested in the music. And sometimes people think that, people that are writing music or even in the Christian realm of music, like, how are y'all going that deep? Where do you get this from? What are you doing to, so I think people are interested in that because they maybe feel like worship people maybe are tapping into a different level and can do that. So Bryan's sort of he is giving the secret, he's telling you this is a really important key to opening up that realm of the spirit here.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I believe that, our consciousness is actually being awakened as we speak. Really, there's so much cool stuff being released from the heavenly realm right now into the earth, and so it's really a very cool thing. awakening is definitely happening, Karen. Let me go through a couple of more of these. Is there any questions at all right now, Karen? Or,
I'm not really seeing any,
okay.
but I'm sure they'll come, somebody might have one. I see our friend Steve Hampton's on. We want to give a shout out to him. He's a lot of fun. And we always enjoy his company when he's, there is a question. Somebody asked, Ann did, and she's a frequent Kingdom Talks follower. So she says, what about the moon reflective light?
The moon's reflective light?
Light. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So like you're sleeping and you have your curtains or window, and that moonlight shining in. That's a really good question.
That is a great question. But I would say, I'm not saying this is like scientifically like whatever, but I would say just what I know on total darkness activating the pineal. I would think that any kind of light, including moonlight, would probably interrupt that. I think it would be an interference with that. That's what I would say.
That's a good question.
Great question. Great.
Because sometimes your blinds are even shut and there's a full moon and there's the light coming through the blind even,
Absolutely.
Wow. That's really good. Thanks, Ann. That's a really good question.
Yeah. So again, I think sleeping in total darkness is the key to opening the pineal, or not necessarily opening, but for the pineal to release the melatonin optimally. So,
and she might be on to something there too, because there's some teaching on the reflective light of the moon, because it is only reflective light. So I know Karina and them teach on something on that. So that's interesting that she asked that.
Yep, exactly. Let me throw a little bit of this out here. So this pineal gland has what's called microcrystals or calcite in it, and these guys act as receivers of light. And we talked about that a little earlier. But not only light, but information and also energy. And these crystals were hexagonal in shape. In other words, they're shaped like a beehive.
That's cool.
And what the honeycomb actually means, and the way bees work together, is one of the definitions for this is interfacing. And I thought that was very interesting. And these also were found inside the pineal. The pineal is full of water. Because the water, they are finding that the water acts as a portal or gateway into the spirit realm. Now here we go.
You know what? We only need to look at that paragraph right there. There's so much heavy revy right there. It's not even funny.
Yeah, it really is a lot, but it's exactly what we need to know. This is what we need to know. We need to know why would the pineal act, the water inside the pineal acts as a gateway. How many times have we been in services? I know I have for years, and somebody will come up to the minister, and they'll say, well, there's a portal right over here, right? And I've always been like, okay, what do we do with it?
You go stand in it. Come on.
Awesome. Where is it? So we can go stand in it, But what I think, what I'm thinking is what in a deeper sense, what we're trying to do is activate our pineal gland, and our pineal is the doorway. It is the doorway to deeper spiritual realms. It is what it is. And I think the ancients knew this, and that's why they've cut that information off from us over the years. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, the water right there and the crystals, because crystals, they kind of funny out there, Bryan, about them crystals. Yeah. And you house them. How about that? Right in your brain.
Oh, oh Lord, oh Lord. You can't say crystals and rocks, and but that's interesting, because that's
Oh
what's
my God, they're
if we
even
don't.
in
That's what's going to be.
this.
That's what's going to be crying out if we don't. I mean, right? The crystals and rocks and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Brian and I have fun with this. It's a fun topic, and it's
It is.
interesting too. And we like to have fun and laugh about it, because why get upset? I mean, he's just stretching you out a little bit, just showing you some truth here. And the New Age didn't put it in there. It's the God organ. He set you up for it.
I set you up from the get-go. First thing I
That's
said.
right. That's right.
Here's a scripture. Let's look at this. Because I was, the crystals, could that be a part of really seeing in the spirit realm and hearing in the spirit? And if it is, now it makes a little more sense then why sometimes we can't seem to hear or see, right?
Yeah.
So Ezekiel 12:2 says it like this: Son of man, thou dwellest in the midst, the center of a rebellious house, which have eyes that see, or eyes to see, but they see not, ears to hear, but they hear not. Now that word right there, ears, means expansion in the Hebrew. We have eyes to see, eyes meaning fountains, and a source to see, and an expansion through the ears, but we don't access it. We don't do it. So we have a source, or a fountain and a source of expansion, but we've never been taught that this needs to be activated in us, so we remain in the house, the prison, because it's not been activated in us. Jesus said he said cool stuff like that all the time. He's like, you can't see the kingdom of heaven is coming, but you can't see it. Right. So what the pineal does, it takes us into, it can take us into a realm where that's actually more real than this one, Karen.
Yeah. And you know what? Like you're saying, crystals and computers, telephones, and all that. So what are those communication sources?
Exactly.
See?
Exactly right.
Revy's out.
It's
that simple, y'all.
That's right. So maybe this little guy is our direct line, guys, and maybe we've lost our ability to see it or use it. And I believe that we have, and I believe that's been by design. I really do believe that. There's too many things that that we do in our daily lives that keep the pineal jacked up and ineffective. And so, but like I said earlier, we're remembering. We're remembering. And I'll say this too, guys. It's about time that we began to take the lead in some areas. And I believe the church has basically been behind the 8 ball because of their unwillingness to see something that's so clearly right in front of us. It's why would God give us such an amazing organ in our body? And the science has been coming out for years and years. And again, the ancients knew a ton about it. Why have we shut it off? Why did we shut it down?
Because, Brian, it's demonic.
I'm so
see, we have so much fun. It's not God, Brian. Come on.
I know people. It's got to be demonic because nobody knows anything. They don't understand it. Anything they don't understand, they deem it demonic because they don't understand it.
Yeah,
it's not. It's
right. You know what? I'm just going to say this. When you deem something demonic, and it's really like we say, God orchestrated for the human to have this thing. Do you know when you're saying like the teaching like this and you're coming against it, you're saying that, you're really saying, what are you saying? You're calling a God thing demonic.
Exactly.
That's some serious business right there.
Karen, I'll throw this out there as well. I'll throw this out there as well. The pineal gland is well known in most every other religion except Christianity, and Christianity fears it like it's the plague. They run from it. I've had so many people tell me after a meeting that I've taught on the pineal gland, they were taught by the church, oh, you can't open that door up. Don't ever open your pineal. And I'm like, okay, then what did you get out of this teaching? And the fact is, they were told not to by religion because it's demonic. And why would God put a demonic organ in our body? I'm telling you what it is, Karen. Most of it is lack of understanding and ego. I'm just calling it.
Well, yeah, and I'm just thinking, like, how serious is it to be calling something that God orchestrated demonic? It's just oxymoron, and it's really saying, I don't believe what God's doing.
Exactly.
I mean, we're straight up over here, okay? I hope y'all are okay with that, but we just have to say it like it is.
Well, I'll say this about the pineal, and it applies in everything we are seeing today in the world, and that is, if you don't follow the science, if you want to know what's really going on, follow the money, because that's where the rubber hits the road. And again, in all of my research for probably now 12 years on the pineal gland, and all of that research, it's always people who disagree with it or deem it a certain thing or demonic or whatever. It's always going to go back to like a paradigm or a religious way of thinking, and it's teachers who have been taught a certain thing, Karen, and instead of looking at anything else any differently, they just do it that way and say it that way. And it's really sad. It really grieves me because, again, we've been given such a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Do
you have any more slides?
Say again?
Do you have any more slides?
Your slides.
Do you have any more slides?
Any more what?
Slides, your presentation here. Do you have any more?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Are we okay? Are we okay?
Yeah, we're doing good.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Well, let me kick through these a little bit. Let's see what about here. There's question. We'll skip that one.
There we go. There's here's for our scripture people.
Yeah.
Because show me that in the Bible.
You got to throw it back to the Bible. You lose a lot of people. You lose a lot of people if you don't quote some scriptures. So
we want to keep them here, so they
got to keep them reeled in, man. So here's one. John 21:6. Everybody knows the story, right?
Yeah.
And Jesus, this is Jesus speaking. He said unto them, "Cast the net onto the right side of the ship, and you'll find." This story has nothing to do with fishing. It never did. It has everything to do with the right side, the right brain, and how you think and what you see. I put a little thing on Facebook this past week about Jesus healed more blind people than anybody, but because he healed their eyes, because he knew that if the mind is blind, the eyes are no good anyway. Okay?
Yeah. Really?
So again, enlightenment and awareness begins with understanding a few things outside of the box a little bit. It might sound a little new agey or whatever, but I'm telling you, the right brain, I believe, is the biblical tree of life. It's not.
That's interesting. Because if you go, you're saying that he healed a lot of people with the blind. So the one guy he healed said, "What do you see?" And he said, "I see things as big as trees." And here you go, tree of life in there. Isn't that crazy? Yep. That's just crazy. Wow.
Yeah, that's a great story too, Karen. Actually, yeah, he asked that guy, matter of fact, Jesus laid hands on him, right? He says, "What do you see?" He said, I see men walking like trees.
Yeah.
Now it looks like if Jesus is praying for him, he only has to do it once, right? But no, Jesus did it a second time, and he said, "Now, what do you see?" And he says, "I see all men clearly." Karen, he said what he said. You have to see people without judgment. That's why he saw men walking as trees. That was, to me, Jesus saying, you can't look through the eyes of judgment at people anymore. Can't do it. So anyway, that was a cool thing. We're all over the place.
I know, that's okay, because I mean, I'm just seeing things here and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. So I mean, all of this has everything to do with the gland. So we're not really off.
Right.
I mean, hey, he saw people, walking as big as trees. Oops, wrong dimension. Let me get him back. So I mean, there can be, we need to know this stuff and we need to help people learn. So
yeah. And we need to, I think it's awesome that we are learning this kind of stuff, and we're bringing it in a way that it's not right, wrong, good or bad for anybody. Okay. It's not, I never teach it that way. I just teach it from my perspective, but I think it is an awesome time for us to start looking, to start looking at things like the pineal gland and what it can do. What can this gland do? It's there for something. It's there for something. So
I mean, come on, y'all. You know what he was going to do? Cindy was trying to give him a walnut to tape to his forehead. Now that would have been funny. They're very creative over there. I love it.
The walnut, actually, yeah, she would have done that too. Steve knows that. She would have done that for an illustration for sure. But some of the research I've done says that our pineal gland actually used to be the size of about a walnut. And so that's what she was talking about. But now we've devolved, okay? We've devolved to where our pineal, our God organ, is about the size of a raisin or a pea.
Is that because of the jump?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you, because I mean, like you're saying it's full of water, so the water's kind of, I don't know, evaporated. So it gets, because it gets raisiny. So if you put water back on it, then what do you call that? Reconstitute or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We need to put a filter system now.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another good verse here. Again, this is Jesus, Karen. He said, the light of the body is the eye. The light of the body is the eye, not eyes, plural, eye, singular. Which eyes he's talking about?
Yeah. Is it the left or right one? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at this stuff and read it just like it is. And you go, huh.
Yeah.
And people kind of skim over that and don't really stop and go, why does it only say ah?
Yeah. I love it because the word body here is the word soma, which means a perfectly whole sounding, resonating, vibrating body. Well, why is it not doing that? Why are we not living life with that happening? Now we get parts of it and we get tastes and glimpses of it. And we, a lot of times when we're in our gifting and, we're resonating with heaven, man. And our body now is a whole perfectly sounding instrument, right? Our body is. But he says, the light of the body is the eye. Which eye is he talking about? And I think probably by now y'all know where I'm headed with this. And I believe that the pineal, because it has always been called the third eye, is the eye that Jesus is talking about here. And I don't think he made any bones about this. He said the light of the body is the eye. So we either have to look at this and go, well, what eye is he talking about? The left or the right? Or it's a typo. They didn't put eyes, plural, there. Well, if you start doing that stuff, you can start changing all kind of stuff, there in the scriptures. So you have to take Jesus at, I think, what he really meant here. And that is the third eye is what he's talking about. And if our eye is single he says, then our whole body is then full of light. The word single there means in unity, harmony, and there was one where it was three, but basically unity. In unity. In other words, if think about how people really choose, they want to see communities and churches and everybody walk in unity instead of division. Well, that's why our eye needs to be single and in unity.
Yep.
So this Jesus really poured on he poured a big deal out right here. And again, we, like you said earlier, Karen, we skipped over this and never really questioned or give it a thought. What's he gonna, yeah, he must be talking about my left eye. No, he's not. He's not. He's talking about our right eye. And if our eye be therefore single, oh, here it is. I didn't know I had it in there, but clear, single means clear, oneness, unity, and in agreement. Who doesn't want that? Right? Yeah. And in our communities and in our churches and stuff, who doesn't want that? I think Jesus was on to something here. I would love, because we call our church the body, right?
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
There you
church.
Go.
Yep.
If you want the whole body full of light, there you go.
Wow. All right, here we go. Awakened pineal. Yep. There we go.
This is like an awakened pineal. It just glows and shimmers, and it's just, to me, it's just so beautiful how the opportunity that humanity has right now to start learning about this, and not only just doing that, but begin to activate this part of our being, because it is a part you cannot deny. It's a part of our being. So, yeah. Again, melatonin is activated when the light's out. A few scriptures here, one at least, he made darkness his secret place. And so the light that God, that we've been taught to seek is actually found when we're in the closet, that Jesus said.
Yep. Yeah, in fact, y'all, I'm almost finished writing a song about the dark cloud. So it's interesting.
It is. It's very interesting that, because we've always thought and had our perceptions of pictures of how God shows up. But what did Moses have to go up into?
Yeah, and the interesting darkness. Go up into. See, that's another.
The darkness.
Yeah, and
did you get that, like going up into the darkness.
That's right. Because everybody goes, no, he just put some, he just walked up the mountain. It's kind of like what we do. No, but up yep. Into.
Yeah, we're like, go to the light. And God's like, no, go to the darkness. I'm in the darkness. I travel the desert, the darkness. So anyway, that's some cool stuff too. Another cool thing is the pineal is complete in the embryo on the 49th day. 4 means creation, 9 divine completeness. That is when our pineal gland becomes divine and divinely activated in the fetus. Okay. All right, let's see. Here's a cool thing too, Karen. We got to cover this part.
All right, let's do it.
Rick Strassman discovered something called DMT, dimethyltryptamine. It's illegal.
Oh.
It's illegal. This is illegal in the United States when they make it. But the pineal gland makes it anyway. It makes it on its own. So he calls the pineal gland, Rick Strassman calls the pineal gland the spirit. No, he calls the DMT in the pineal gland the spirit molecule. And it's just a little research. The DMT experiences include all kind of time travel, paranormal stuff, encounters with other spiritual beings. And so this, again, we can't not look at this anymore, y'all. We can't not talk about it. So, I mean, get his book. It's called Spirit Molecule. I think it's called Spirit Molecule. Get his book, and he done all kind of studies and stuff in the U.S. and at the University of New Mexico. So anyway, what I'm saying is that chemical is put out by the pineal gland, and that is the activation into other realms when our pineal gland is activated. Now, that's probably why most people would back off of that and go, well, I don't, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
I think you stretched them when you said time travel. Okay.
Huh?
I think you stretched them when you said time travel. Yeah.
Time travel.
This right here. Oh my goodness.
Yep. And all of
Wow.
that, all of that comes from the pineal. And again, Karen, we've got to keep talking about this, because if we don't, we're not going to understand it. Okay. So we have to work, I think, with this. And that's what I've been teaching this for 12 years now. And so we need to begin to really take a look at this. It's not going away, y'all. This is not going away, and it's not new age. This is a part of who God made us to be.
Someone's Anne's asking, in this presentation you brought, can it be downloaded for people? Can you set that up?
You talking about the slideshow?
Mm-hmm. Do you have it available on like your website or anything?
No,
or
no, I don't. I really don't. But you're recording this, so that would be one thing. But maybe at some point you can help me. I'm totally not a techie person, but I don't know why I am. I don't mind anybody having the slides. I really don't. I have another one with the pineal gland and how it relates to meditation and stuff. So
wow.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's not going away. This is not going away.
I'll just get you to email it to me as an attachment, and then I'll get it out to people who want it.
Perfect.
On my group page, I can put it in a file. I have files there for people that's in my group. So if you haven't joined my group, it's the Elastic Army Band Live Talk on Facebook. And I'll put things in files for people that can go grab them and read them and print them and study and do all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Here's a quick one on the fluoride, the EMFs, sodas, tap water, refined sugar, white flour, pork is very, very acidic. Our cell phones can calcify the pineal unless there's something that you put on your phone that can change that wave. It doesn't block the wave, but it can change that EMF wave coming off of your cell phone.
Do y'all have those in your store?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Do you have those in your store, like online or anything?
We do not, but I can, we have them on our phones, and I can give you information about the company that we use. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't it like a little disc or something that you put on the phone?
It is. It's just a little sticky thing. Again, it doesn't block a wave at all. So you're talking and stuff is always, it's the same. Unless your phone sucks, maybe it'll help. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Everybody, look! Don't talk. Put the head to your phone when you talk. Just use your phones.
In all honesty, I do put my phone. I never put my phone up to my head, guys. I never do that. Even with that thing on, I put it on speaker if I can, and talk like that. So it's that thing's pretty powerful. So how am I on time? How am I on time?
I think you're okay. Keep going. We're going to go. Keep going.
Okay. Revelation 13:16 talks about a mark, and it's given to people by what's called a beast. The word beast there means kingdoms or nations. It's on their foreheads. Now, I like talking about this a little bit because a lot of people still believe that they're going to have a literal mark on their forehead or their right hand, and that's not true. That's not how I see it. I'll put it like that. Because the word mark here means a badge of servitude to something. It's not a literal mark in my view, but it's a way. The mark is in our forehead. Exactly. Is that right? Mm-hmm. That's right. The Bible says the mark is in the forehead. the forehead is where the frontal lobe is, and it points to the pineal behind it back in there. It also is a way of thinking. Okay.
Yep.
We've been marked by the way we think. And I think that's what that's talking about. And again, look on the slide here. We serve our temples, and Cindy teaches a lot on the temple and the divinity that God put in this temple is sacred. This is a sacred thing, and yet we just eat and drink and do whatever we want, with it. So we serve our temples with food and drinks and everything that's toxic, and we literally become servants to that. If you don't believe that, literally try to go without your cell phone for a day.
Yeah.
Or your Diet Cokes or Diet Mountain Dew for a week. And you'll begin to see how we are serving that. Okay. So we've been marked, I think, as a nation by what we eat, drink, and do.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you, if you put it down, you're going to be jonesing till you get past that part of it.
Exactly.
Sometimes, like when you're getting rid of the diet drinks, you'll start getting headaches and things like that. And isn't that interesting? Starting to get headaches.
Yeah, exactly. Why would your body go into a detox if there was nothing there to detox? I remember back in the early 2000s, a naturopath doctor, he told me about something called aspartame. And I was, at the time, Karen, I was drinking 3 or 4 20-ounce Diet Mountain Dews a day. I was totally addicted to those.
Good Lord.
I know, right? I'm telling you.
That's like drinking antifreeze.
I know. So he gave me the word aspartame. He said, "Here, go to the computer and look this up." And I did. And I shut him. I quit him totally that day. And he was like, "Man, you may want to wait and go down to 2. You're probably not going to do well if you stop cold turkey like that." And I told him, I said, "This is poison, and I'm not putting it back in my body." And so the next 2 days, I laid in a dark room with a wet towel over my face because I was detoxing. And so, but we never connect the dots on what we're putting in our bodies that affects our spiritual, our creativity. All of that comes into play because we were designed to flow creatively. Our creativeness, we should be able to sit down at our instruments, guys, and at any moment play just whatever flows from us. I do it on the piano at home, and I'll be in that kind of that little groove, Karen, and then all of a sudden I start playing the Eagles or something, and she'd be like, "No, go back."
Go back.
Yeah. Because she could tell immediately when the flow changed, so we really have been marked by a lot of this stuff that we put in our bodies. Here we go. This is a picture of a calcified pineal gland. Fluoridated pineal right there. It should be red all the way through, but you can see what happened.
Man, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. These are the people who say, "I just don't feel like my prayers are getting past the ceiling." Right there.
Now, you're going to ruffle some feathers then.
I know it's okay. I don't have a congregation, so I'm okay. Oh gosh, I didn't think about this. You and Gil will have to straighten up.
It's okay. I told Gil I'll take the heat. It's okay. You go.
Yeah, bless his heart. I love those guys.
I love the furnace.
Those guys, Gil and Adina Hodges are absolutely amazing. And I just want to say this right now, Karen. I so appreciate Kingdom Talks Music, Kingdom Talks Media, Kingdom Talks Ministries. I so appreciate Gil and Adina Hodges for letting us use this platform. And so if I challenge you guys, if you're out there and you love Kingdom Talks and the work that Gil and Adina Hodges are doing, please support those guys, support them. this thing is going global, right?
Yeah.
This thing is going global. I talked to Gil, when he got back from Africa and just telling me some of this cool stuff. And so, guys, we get to be a part of this. We get to do this with those guys. So I'm so grateful. I really am so grateful, Karen, for Gil and Adina and the platform that they've built for us. Okay, to walk on and to get up on. So I think we need to have some skin in the game here with those guys, folks. I really do. I really do.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. That's right. Because you know what? Those guys have been working hard. They've been putting out a lot of things. And I'm telling you, I'm on the inside of that group and I know how they think and they're the real deal. So if you guys want to give, hit this link above my head, kingdomtalksmedia.com, and hit the giving button, and you can either do a one-time donation or you can select a partnership with them, and there's plenty there to choose from that'll fit, I guess, custom fit, for you. So, and if you join as a partnership, you will have access to, we used to call it behind the scenes. It's not called that anymore. It's I think diving deeper. So you'll have access to that and much more. So they're going to do that for you guys that are joining up with that partnership there. So go there, hit this and hit the give button. And I'm sure they'll appreciate it. And I'm telling you, those guys are the real deal. What you see is what you get, so, and they're a whole lot of fun. And they came here in October and did a conference with me. We had a great time and I got to know them and they're fun. Yeah. Look, anytime Gil will put on a Patriot hat, it's okay. I take him into historical places and he tries on the Patriot hat and no problem with it. And then we get to have fun with the graphics, Exactly. So yeah. What else? You got another slide here for this?
Yeah. Okay. We can move on a little bit here. Okay. There's some of this that I
okay. You went somewhere. Where's that silver cord? Because I know something about that too.
Okay. There it is. Yeah. Well, it's only mentioned one time in Ecclesiastes 12.
Okay.
6. And I did a lot of research on near-death experiences and things like that. And it's only mentioned one time, and it says, remember your creator now while you're young, before the silver cord of life snaps and the golden bowl is broken. Don't wait until the water jar is smashed at the spring and the pulley is broken at the well. This one scripture is speaking about crossing over, but every person that I read about said that the anchor point for that silver cord was either in the forehead or the top of the head, which would be the third eye or the crown energy center or chakra, whatever you guys want, whatever. Doesn't matter to me.
Bryan.
Did I?
You brought that word up.
Oh. It is what it is. It is what it is, Karen. It's an energy center. It's whatever you want to call it, but it's still there.
Look, if it's a crown, so don't you lay that down? Oh, lay that down at Jesus' feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can do that.
We have fun with the words. It's just words. But some people say words have meaning, Bryan. So what do you have to say about that?
I understand that, and they do, but sometimes they don't mean exactly what we thought they meant. Maybe. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Just throwing some stuff out there, okay?
That's right.
So yeah, the silver cord is always that I saw. It always connected back with the pineal.
Okay.
Yeah, cool stuff there. Let's see. I want to tell a quick story at the end here. Maybe that was the end. Yeah. Okay. Let me do this last one, and I want to tell a story quickly. Meditation is always huge in activating the pineal gland, guys. And meditation, I believe, is a missing link in the church and in the Western religion. We don't have any problem talking about prayer, but the Bible speaks of prayer and meditation. And I always put it like this, guys. Prayer is when I, as a son, am speaking with my Father. I'm speaking to him. Meditation, guys, is where we take that time, shut it all down, get quiet, get in that dark place, get in that closet, Jesus said. And that's where the Father speaks back to us, okay, is during that time of meditation. And so, again, just blue spruce, cedarwood is a great oil if you're going to meditate, to put on, because it stimulates the pineal gland. So it's really interconnected beautifully, I think, with the pineal gland oils.
So do they decalcify too?
Yes, they aid in decalcification, but also the best way to decalcify is to stop all of those things that I was calling out earlier.
How long does it take? Like, is it a month? Like if somebody quits all that, do you know?
I don't know. That's another good question, but I don't know how long that process would be. I guess because, depending on the severity of the calcification, but I do know this, and all of my studies says that it will reboot. It will, you get a redo with it. So it'll decalcify. That's awesome.
I was just curious. I've heard some people say a week. I don't know.
Really? I don't know that. That may be exactly right, but it seems like it probably take a long time for it to calcify. It probably would take a little while for it to decalcify. Yeah, I think it would be a way of living to keep it, to keep it optimal, to keep it from being calcified. And really the world we live in today, it's really close to impossible unless you're totally off the grid and you have access to all the organic food that you can eat. Mm-hmm. It's hard not to come across things that are not good for us. So
yeah. Somebody in the chat might know, because there's a couple people in here that are pretty familiar. Because somebody, I think it was Ann again, she said something about putting frankincense here on your head.
That's awesome. Great idea there.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea.
So somebody in there might know how long that's maybe gone through it. Detoxing that.
Yeah, there we are.
There we're back. We're back, y'all.
We're back, y'all. Let me share this really quick story, Karen, and then we can go wherever you want to from there. But there's a beautiful story, and I've shared this a lot about the pineal gland and where I connect a lot of why I call it the God organ, and just some of the stuff I shared tonight. Really, I hang my hat on this story right here. And so there's a story of a guy named Jacob in the scripture. And the story goes, now this goes a lot deeper than I'm going to go tonight, as far as Jacob's life as a trickster and marrying one woman. He thought it was, y'all know the story probably on all of that. But I will say this, and again, it goes a lot deeper, but his uncle Laban tricked him actually into marrying Leah. He wanted to marry Rachel, and he tricked him into marrying Leah first, because she was the first daughter. She was actually promised to Esau, but this woman was so in tune with the Spirit of God that she knew Esau was a man of the earth, that Jacob was the guy. And so the Bible said that she was tender-eyed. Okay, that's all it says, tender-eyed. And I read the writing of I forget the guy's name, a historical rabbi type guy. And he said the reason that the wording tender-eyed there meant that she was in constant meditation before the Lord about her husband, and it was supposed to have been Jacob. Okay. So, I mean, and again, so I'll go into this story now. So the story goes that, Esau was going to try to kill him when he was younger, and now he's going back to see his brother. He wasn't really sure that Esau wasn't going to kill him. So he sends everybody ahead, the scripture says, everybody. And the Bible says it like this. Now, hear this. When the sun began to go down, he began to wrestle. Now, the sun began to go down. It gets dark. Here we go. We're back to darkness.
Yep.
And now this, by the time this story begins, he's been married to Leah. And this woman, I believe, has taught this man the power of deep, deep meditation. Okay. That's just me. That's just how I perceive it. So the sun goes down and this wrestling match begins, the Bible says. Now, again, my view is that Joyce Meyer had a book some years ago that says the battlefield is in the mind.
Right.
She's right. So I believe that this wrestling, now it may have been a literal physical WWF thing happening there that night. I don't really think it was. It could have been. It's okay. I'm good with that as well. But I'm thinking more along the lines of this was a symbolic wrestling that was going on with the God inside of him. I'll put it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the wrestling continued all night. Okay. And again, I'll have to skip some parts just for time wise, but anyway, the Bible says that the sun begins to come up. Melatonin starts to stop, guys. Mm-hmm. Serotonin starts to happen now. The sun starts to come up, and the scripture says that finally he's blessed and his name is changed to Israel, the God man, instead of Jacob, the trickster, the natural man. Yeah. And that is what I believe is paramount for all of us as believers in the power of who we are in him. Okay. So the Bible says that he named the place because he had this wrestling match. His name was changed to Israel. And he said, I've seen God face to face and lived. And he calls the place where this happened, where he sees God, Pineal. Are you kidding me?
Nothing's a coincidence.
I think that's probably the biggest coincidence in the whole scripture to me. So there we go. And again, I love that story because again, there's so much more in it, but that was kind of the cliff notes of that and how I connect the pineal with what Jacob, where he saw God. Scripture says no man can see God and live, but here we got a guy that did. Yeah. So did he or didn't he? I think he did. I really do believe he saw God, but I believe he saw it through an activated, fully optimal, Leah trained pineal gland.
Yeah. And you know what? And to teach this and to get this out here and get through, like, people are wrestling with their thinking on this right now, when they're saying like, this is new age or whatever, and they're hearing this and they're like, I don't know, so they're also struggling and fighting in their head over this. Yeah. There's a wrestling going on when this kind of teaching that's coming out here,
the thing about awakening, the thing about awakening, girl, is that usually you have to be disturbed before you wake up. And that's really the way of it. In my life, that's how it's been. And so I really encourage all of you guys who are listening to don't kick it all out. Just get before the Father. Allow Holy Spirit to speak to you in all of this. If something doesn't agree with you, hey, kick it out. It's okay. It's okay. But please give it a chance. Again, the new agers have actually had religion behind the bait, especially Western religion behind the 8 ball here, because they're doing this stuff. They're doing it, and we're wondering why we're not. And so anyway, again, really, I really encourage all you guys who are listening to at least meditate on this and give it and ponder it and give it some thought, give it some energy.
So Muriel, she's on the Kingdom Talks team, and she asked, how do you know when it is decalcified? I think you answered, maybe. What do you think? And then she said, is it a gradual process, or is it something that just happens like that? She said, like a pimple popping.
I wish it was. But I really do believe that it's a processing, and I think it's that way because when you deny your flesh things that are toxic to put in our bodies, when we deny that flesh, that ego, everything in you is going to scream loudly,
Yeah.
to do it, to get it, to go after it. You're going to die. You're going to die, but you're not. It takes that. I'll put it like this: it takes you to love you. Okay, you have to fall in love with you in such a level that you don't want to put anything into your body that's going to conflict with your spirituality. I really believe that, because the more we do, and I've been that guy, y'all. I'm telling you, I have been that guy, and I'm telling you, where I'm at right now in my life and in my walk with my Father, I'm at a place where I can literally go into the woods and begin to hear Him speak to me as a son, and just have that intimacy with the Father, because things are starting to melt off of me, because of toxic things that have been in my body for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love for it to be as fast as just popping a pimple. That'd be great.
Yeah. But I mean, it might be shock therapy, because it would be going like, I'm closed down to I'm wide open.
Yeah.
It could be like shock therapy.
It could be. It sure could be.
It might be too much all at once, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It may be too much all at once, and you probably have to gradually, slide into it, man. But I really believe it's where we are. I think it's where we are, and I think it's very necessary that we have a better understanding of what we really do have inside these divinely created vehicles that we've been given, guys. And again, the with all the musicians that are on here and will hear this, the optimal flow of your creativity is when your pineal gland is working optimally. I truly believe that with everything within me.
Yeah, and being that it's crystals inside, there's that communication, up and down, and going on. Yeah. So I want to kind of circle around and get that music thing going on. Like we have the group, and we've met a couple times, and Bryan's been on with us, and we've talked about so much like architecture and music and stuff like that. And I brought up the thing like, people on worship teams, like they're missing this part of the teaching, because they do so much. They're told what music to play and how worship should look like, and then they've got so many people telling them, well, we like this or we like that, and it really holds back their creativity of who they are and putting music out. And I think our hearts for even reaching out to those guys that are worship leaders. I don't even like calling it anymore, because I mean, we can't lead, really think about it. We can't take anybody into a worship. We want people to join you in worship. And, like somebody said in our music group, that we get to a place that you don't see us anymore. You see Jesus.
Exactly. That's so true. So true. It really, yeah. We've talked about this in our groups before, as you were saying, and I think it really is. There's a shift happening in all of that, Karen. I really believe that, and I think probably people like Steve, Laura C, Kara, all of these people are seeing a shift literally happening right now. In that. We back out of the way, and our intention we just bring our gift to the table, and that's what we do. That's our part. We're not any more special than anyone else. Our intent should be to bring our gift to the table and literally say, I know nothing this morning. I know nothing. The Holy Spirit guide me right now. And I know that we do that. I really do believe that we do that. And again, I know the people on the panel that we've been on before, they do that. I really believe that. But I also believe that we're just scratching the surface here with that. So it's a great ride.
And anybody that's listened to me knows that I always talk about, like, even this ties into, like, when I say I don't put our words up anywhere that we play, and like worship leaders will say, you're going to put your words up. I go, no, because we can't take them in. They have to engage with us. We're a body, we're a group. And see if we all interact instead of me kicking it off and singing and doing whatever. And I have to lead you in, and you have to read words off a panel. I don't want you to do that. I want you to do, and like this whole pineal teaching and getting that thing decalcified where you can, think, you can really be free and get all that cleaned up. That has a lot to do with what I'm saying about not using the words, so you're not staring at a board, that you're really engaging and getting into it.
That's it. So I'll go back to what I said earlier, the scripture where Jesus said, that the body, the light of the body is the eye, and if that's true, and we know it is, then he goes right down and says, it comes to me, it says, if you'll just let your body be that light, then the whole body, right,
is the light,
will become that. And so that's again, just bringing your pure gift to the table every time. And again, beginning with, I don't even know what I'm doing right now, but I do know I have a gift, and I'm gonna turn it back to my Father, and that's how it'll start. So I really appreciate the panel that we've been on before, and how these guys are willing, and I put it that way. Really, they're willing to go. Okay, I'm just we've always said, Carrie, I'm just a vessel for the Lord,
Yeah.
But it's almost become like just cliche-ish. Like, come on, just be the instrument that He created you to be. And be that light. I mean, it's all connected. It's all connected. So I think that what I shared tonight would really take us all to a deeper level, though. Of intimate worship.
Yeah. And you know what? What time does the tapping begin? Let me stop. I said, what time does the tapping begin?
Cindy's still here. We can get her. We can do a round. We'll begin the EFT now.
Look, what time is it? Get her in here. These people will do it with her. Come on. Go get her.
Oh, goodness. She would be like, okay, guys, do this. I am safe and secure. That's what she would say.
Oh, boy. We have so much fun. But we'll get her in here next time. We'll do another one and get her in here.
She's amazing. She is absolutely amazing.
Yep. Well, guys, we thank you for joining us tonight. And Bryan, you stay on the line, and thank you for doing the first show with me. It's been fun. We always have a great time talking, and we're going to talk more. But hey, guys, again, just go to kingdomtalksmedia.com and support what they're doing. And we love you guys a lot. And we just thank you for joining us tonight. And we'll see you next time on the show.